Hey everybody, welcome to this week's edition of Meta Market Weekly. I'm your co-host Justin, along with Fernando. We got a lot to talk about today, of course, crazy things happening in the world, but also a lot of really exciting stuff. And yeah, let's just get right into it. Fernando, how you doing today, man?
Hey Justin, I'm doing great, and yeah, there's a lot of exciting stuff going on. The cryptocurrency market never sleeps. It literally
Yeah,
never sleeps. It's
literally.
it's not it's not like the bank that it gets closed on the weekends, it gets closed after 6 o'clock. It's always open.
Yeah.
So there's always time for new things to happen and for things to talk about. And today is not gonna be any different. We're gonna keep talking about what's going on. But before we jump into it, really quick, I just wanted to point out that the price of Meta One is stable as ever. We had a quick jump from last week, where the price was sitting at 520. Right now, it's sitting at 530.
Yeah.
We're very close to the all-time high, which was 535, which was a couple of weeks ago. And there's a lot of exciting stuff going on. Justin, I don't know if you want to talk about it, the biometrics, the light wallet, and everything that we have coming on for the near future.
Yeah. Well, biometrics is almost there. To all of you who are listening, who are members, I believe our hope is next week. So we're very excited about that. I think, like I said last time, I don't want to repeat myself, but last time, like I said, a great, huge improvement. And then also, we're very close, a couple weeks away from the new Light Wallet releasing, which, as I talked about last time, is just a new simplified better version. Simple. That's what mass adoption is going to bring when you
Yeah.
have simple, simplistic, easy to use interfaces, etc. So very excited about the future, and a lot of things to come in this quarter. The team is working really hard on all the things that we have on the roadmap. And then, of course, at the beginning, in January, on our members call, we will be talking about the 2024 roadmap, which I'm very excited about, and we're actually going to be asking the community for all of their feedback on what they want to see in 2024, and then we're going to put it all together and put together an exciting roadmap for next year. So we keep on building, and I love the look of that chart. It's just a nice steady upward movement. So that's the way to do it. So yeah, I mean, Rome is not built overnight, and it takes time and energy and effort, and slow and steady really wins the race. And I'm so honored to be a part of this project and just be able to witness how something can blossom so incredibly. I mean, you look at I actually became a member before I became part of the internal team
Yeah.
in early 2018 it was.
How did you
And
become a member, Justin?
sorry.
How did you become a member?
I knew Robert before Meta One was an idea.
Okay.
I met him in 2015, and we became friends. And then he mentioned, early 17 or something, that he was doing this. And actually, at that time, I really wasn't like, I didn't know anything about crypto at all. I really didn't
Yeah.
know anything. I didn't really know anything about blockchain. It was a totally different time in my life, but
Yeah.
I learned about it. I was like, oh my gosh, like, because I had already been like pretty awake, and I kind of, it's actually amazing. My wife and I kind of had our awakening at the same time, when we met in late
Yeah.
2011 and then into 2012, and then kind of met Robert, and then yeah, he told me about this, and I was really excited about it. I got in, and I've never looked back, and it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made. It's so exciting, and just to be building something that is for humanity, for the people in this world that is run by the devil, with all of these, with everywhere you turn, someone is trying to manipulate you or keep you in a slave system, etc. So I I'm just so excited because I can just see the long-term journey of and the long-term effect that this is going to have. And there are some people out there who want it to go faster, et cetera, et cetera. I get that, but I also think that to build something like this, it's not only the time that it takes to do it operationally, logistically, development wise, et cetera, but also just the what we're going up against. We're going up
Yeah,
against, like I said,
the
systems
devil.
that are run by the devil, and systems that have been in place for a long time, and you know uh they don't want to change that. I think we talk about these things in different ways every single week. It's like they don't want to change that, because the minute that they embrace, like we've talked about so many times, blockchain technology, all of these different things, then their power goes away. But
Yeah, yeah,
the thing is the most important thing I think people have to remember is that are our own we are our own saviors. We are the ones who are going to change this through the grace of God. And I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they were just saying how the problem in this world is that the world has gotten so far away from a place of being connected to God, and
oh yeah,
also the humanity has really been duped into thinking that the laws, or that the rules, or that these crazy systems, which a lot of people say, oh well, the system is broken, and I think you even said this the other day to me, Fernando. I don't know if it was on or off the air, but that the system isn't broken. It works exactly the way it was
yeah,
designed. It works to benefit the
absolutely.
people who run it. And so I think what people forget is that these constructs that we have, they are man-made, and really at the end of the day, we are children of God, in my view, and we should be following the rules, the universal principles, the universal laws of our Creator. And if you look at a lot of the stuff that's happening in the world, is the complete opposite of that. So
Oh yeah,
what we have to remember, at least what I remind myself, is that I am a child of God, and I follow the universal principles. I follow those universal laws that were created by our Creator, that created us, and that is who I answer to. And I don't answer to these people who think that they can control me and manipulate me and provide, and in this illusionary system. And so it's I dropped a quote in our kind of internal team chat that we have today. I just get very inspired by quotes, and I do this a lot. And today's quote was, the ones who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who do. And that was Steve Jobs. And I truly believe that. I think that regardless of what the obstacles are, regardless of what it seems impossible or something like that, I think we can all do it together. And I think we just have to rely on ourselves, and remember the power that's inside of us. So anyway.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you just said. And forget about blockchain and crypto and all that. I think it is time to embrace common sense. We're right now, we live in a time in society where we're being gaslighted every time. We know things are not how the government says they are. And they lie to us, they lie to us, they lie to us, and we have the facts, and still we keep believing the lies that the government tells us. So
Yes. And that's where they get the illusion of power.
yeah,
Yep.
so it is time to to start using our common sense and start to see things as they really are.
Yep.
Because if not, if we just keep, yeah, like you just said, that's the illusion of power. We are
Yeah.
giving them our power. We're giving it to them by allowing this to continue happening, by saying, oh, it's okay. Joe Biden just came out and said this, it's fine, it's fine. Oh, the economy, it's just uh, an inch of inflation. Oh, it's all fine. It's gonna be fixed in a year or two. And years have gone by. inflation is going up and nothing is fixed. And they keep selling the same story that it's fine, nothing's gonna happen, and it's not true. And and it's gonna keep happening because we keep believing the same lies. We keep watching the same news that they own. We keep using the same monetary system
Yeah.
that they own.
Yeah.
So nothing's gonna change until we start, you know, using our common sense.
Yeah,
And
I can't agree with
yeah,
that more. Yeah, and remember the power that's inside of us. I mean, I think that people think, oh well, this is the way it is, or this is the system we have, and everyone uses this system, and we can't change this, and so on and so forth. And we can. Now, is it
we
going to
can.
happen tomorrow? No, it's not going to happen tomorrow. But if the more and more of us who decide to take the steps to leave that system, to do something different, to get involved in an alternative like Meta One is offering, et cetera, then the more that we can move the world in that direction. There's been so many times in history where small groups of people have made a massive change and difference in the world. And it's very possible. And we've gotten to a place where, like you said, the government lies so much, the establishments, the institutions, they lie so much, and they make us feel like we're powerless, and we're absolutely not. Because if you look at the universal principles, so our creator, God, whatever you want to call it, there's lots of different words for it. I like the word God, but God created us, and and God gave us these universal laws, these universal rights that every single one of us has. And then, for example, the way it should be, at least in the system that I believe has been the best idea that has come out of humanity in terms of governance, is that originally in the United States, when it was created, the power actually rests in the hands of the people. They are the ultimate power, and that power is obviously conferred down from our creator, from God, and we actually are supposed to be giving that power to the government. And so, of course, this has been completely skewed and doesn't work that way anymore for lots of different reasons that we could talk about for 5 hours. But the point is that, that's it. I mean, we keep on looking outside of ourselves for an answer, and the answer is actually within ourselves, and within taking that power back and realizing that. And it's just like all of the people who stood up during the COVID, pandemic, against mask mandates. I was one of those people. I would refuse
Yeah,
to wear it
me
no
too.
matter where I went. And there were so many people who wanted to do that, but were just afraid and felt like they were powerless because of all the ridicule and all the things that happened. But it was just like, these people's bark is way bigger than their bite, because they know that if we can unite together, and if we can stand up and start to remember that power and take that power back, there is absolutely nothing that they can do. And that's what people have to remember, I think.
I agree. I agree with everything you just said. And at the end of the day, it's also more like a spiritual revolution.
Oh,
I
it's
feel
100%.
yeah, I mean, it's not just about money. It's also about the fact that we as human beings, we've been dumbed down by television, manipulation, and all that. That we just go along. They give us football games. They give us Justin Bieber. They give us all these movie actors, and they just dumbed us down into just accepting reality. There's no critical thinking.
Yeah.
There's no emotional intelligence and all that good stuff. So we
Yeah.
just became, they dumbed us down to the point that we're even easier to manipulate than before. Even though we have the internet, we have phones, we have everything to start a revolution and, not be gaslighted by these people. But anyways, it is what it is. You always say this that I don't remember 100% how the quote goes, but the to strive for excellence, that should be the ultimate goal. How do you remember that the quote you usually
Yeah,
say?
yeah, it's Andy Frisella, and it's the best form of rebellion is personal excellence. And I
That's
I
right.
I 100% agree with that, and that's it. And you know what? The revolution has already begun. It's begun, and it's happening. And I think it's just about if people are going to join it or people are not going to join it. And I just think it's way better. I like living outside of the matrix versus inside of the matrix. So,
Yeah.
I think we can all be Neo and break the matrix apart and take that power back. So, yeah, just it's all
And
about you and the choices that you want to make and the things that you want to believe, and just not accepting their lies, the fear that they try to instill, all the things anymore. Because when you learn that, when you understand knowledge that this whole system is it's an illusion, and a lot of it is very easy, it very easily falls down once you understand those certain principles. It's just about stepping into that power and remembering that you have that inside of you, and it's not Joe Biden, it's not the government, it's not any of these things. And like you said, there's this illusion of we have to ask permission from the government. We have to ask permission from this institution or this system of people, because this is the thing that they've been doing forever, and they quote unquote are in charge and are our representatives. But that is not the case anymore. It has not been like that for a long time. And I do not believe that we need to ask permission from anyone, except for God. That is the only being out there that I believe we have to ask permission from. As long as we're not breaking some kind of universal law, there should be no reason why we have to. And I think that it's either we're going to be governed from the inside or we're going to be governed from the outside. So I just think people need to make a choice. And I think it's way better to be self-governed and to, be able to take that power into our own hands in lots of different ways that we've talked about on this show before. Blockchain voting systems, implementing lots of different things that can really eradicate this problem. And then we can actually sit down as a human race and go, okay, now we're in a better place, and we can actually focus on like cool stuff. Like I've always dreamed, I don't know if you like Star Trek, but I'm like a huge Trekkie fan. I love Star Trek, because the reason why I love it so much is it's because it's a vision of humanity that is so beautiful. It's like they are in this time in the evolution where wars are a thing of the past, hunger is a thing of the past, all of this stuff, manipulation, corruption, it's all a thing of the past. And for the most part, I mean, there's a little bit,
yeah,
but it's not even close to what it is now. It's like the reverse of it. It's like in that world, 99% of humanity is really good and happy and like focusing on really cool things, and 1% is kind of like whatever. And now
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
like in the reverse. But it's just so beautiful, because what do? They go out and they explore the galaxy, and
yeah,
they trade with each other and other planets, and they focus on building new technology and advancing spiritually and all of these different things. And it's just such a beautiful reality. And people go, oh well, that's just a movie, it's just a TV show. But you know what? It can be reality, and it's up to us to choose if we want to take that path, the Star Trek path, or if we want to take like the Darth Vader, a
yeah,
Death
yeah,
Star
yeah,
path. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
yeah.
Makes
Anyways,
sense. Makes sense.
I will
Well, yeah,
stop my
yeah.
tangent.
It's fine. No, no, and it makes absolutely a lot of sense, because if you're all your life just chasing the ball because you need to survive, then you never have time to question reality. You never
Yeah.
have time to build a relationship with God, with
Yeah.
nature, to see
Yeah.
what's the purpose of life.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a reality for most people right now, because
Right.
I would say 95% of the people are living right now in a under stress, under
Yes.
survival mode. And because they're in survival mode, they cannot really, they have no time to, for example, study metaphysics, like what am I? Where are my energy centers? Where's my breathing? Like, these I mean, it sounds simple, but it really, most people have no idea, what they are. And this is actually teaching, this is actual metaphysics. You can
Yeah.
meditate, you can understand, your energy, your vibration. And once you understand your energy and your vibration, you can take it to the next level. You realize that you're not a human, you're a creator. Your purpose here is to create realities. That's the power of you as a person. But the system has you so oppressed that you don't even know that. You don't even realize that you're a creator, and other people are using your power for their image of reality. You're a creator, and you're giving that power away to the people that control you with the money. So I mean, it's very interesting, because that analogy that you said with Star Trek makes a lot of sense. Since I guess Star Trek is kind of like Star Wars, but post the war. Now that the war's over, like what do we do, right? So now they're
Yeah,
like,
I guess you're kind of right. I never thought about it that way. But yes, you're totally right. You're totally right. It is like
yeah,
post the war is over, we've won, the good guys won, and now it's like, what do we do? What do we do? And that's at least original Star Trek. I mean, this new J.J. Abrams stuff is a little bit more dark, which I'm
yeah,
not so much of a fan of, but I like Star Trek Generations. Like that's just like
yeah, the old school.
old school stuff. But yeah, man, I absolutely totally agree with you. And I understand struggle because I've been there before. I've had to struggle. And actually what I learned is that struggle was actually something that I was creating myself, because I
Yeah,
truly believe that people don't need to struggle. I think that there's an amazing amount of opportunities in this world. I've seen people that have gone from working 3 jobs to building a business in which they're making more money than they can possibly imagine. And I think that that's part of the thing too, is even that construct of you've got to go work for someone else, you got to get a job, you got to, at least in America, the
yeah,
the quote unquote American dream, is go to a good college, get a good degree, get out, get a really good job that you work out for 40 years, get married, buy a house, and have kids, and that's and put money into a 401k and then retire. That's like the American dream. And I just I don't believe that. I believe that people can build and make their own reality. I've seen amazing people that have come from nothing, and there's story after story of this that have broken out of this, that have created their own thing. And that's what we are. We are creators. We were bestowed that by God. And I think that's what people forget. They think that it's that same thing that we just talked about, that illusion of there is no choice, and I have to struggle, and I have to work those 3 jobs and all of those different things. And I just think everybody has it inside of themselves to really change that scenario and that mentality, regardless of what's going on in the world, because there is we all can help it make this change. And also the amazing thing too is, you think about it, if we start to really change this, where we decide that we don't want to participate in these systems anymore, and we want to like do something different, we want to create communities, that can be such an amazing economic driver too. Because imagine a community of people that are independent, that all have different skills, that one's a baker, one's a this, one's a that, one's a that, and they all can help sustain each other and help bring business to each other and all of those different things. Then you create this amazing peer-to-peer economy in a way, which goes along with blockchain and everything that we're doing, and everything that's happening in the world with that space. And we start to create this incredible commerce that isn't being stifled by all of this illusion inside of the system they want you to be in. Because that's the problem, is that in the inside of the system, like we said, it works perfectly in the advantage of the people who run it. So they are taxing people in this way and that way, they are oppressing people, they are regulating, they are doing all of these things, which just gets them, basically transfers wealth from us to them. So
yeah.
instead of that, if we're moving towards a different alternative, and I think that's the thing is like our entire project, it's not about like, oh, like we just want to screw the system, we want to burn it all down to the ground and F this and F that. It's not about that. It's just about like we just want to create an alternative. And if you want to join this alternative, that's way better in our opinion, join it. If you want to still be a part of that old system, be a part of the old system. So yeah.
Well, I agree, but I don't think anyone other than the oppressors want to be a part of the old system because
Yeah.
the system is no longer sustainable. I mean, I
It's
agree with what you're saying. Struggle is good. Struggle is good because it helps you build character.
it does.
And
It does. And it makes you learn. I
yeah,
100% agree with that. Yeah.
at the end of the day, we're at the jungle, and we need to have character in order to survive. However, back in the day, in the 50s, you could be a shoemaker, you could be like working, I don't know, as a teacher, and you
Yeah.
could afford a house, you could afford to have 2 or 3 children, and even a boat or a nice car.
Yep.
But now the problem is that that's no longer possible. Even if you work 2 or 3 jobs, you can barely afford to pay rent. So,
Yeah.
I
And it's
mean, the
been
system
designed
is
that way.
currently,
Yep.
yeah, so
Yep.
exactly. So the system is designed to be that way. It's
Hmm.
not by random forces. It's not, oh, the economy is a living. No, like for example, capitalism. Even if they print trillions of dollars, if there were market regulations, you could print all the money in the world, and it wouldn't really affect your living because let's say this, for example, I don't know, eggs. If the government regulated the market and said, the price of egg cannot go above $4 or below $2, there's still margin for profit. If the government starts printing a lot of money, probably we're gonna get to $4. But that the moment that they slow down, it'll go down. So what I'm trying to say is that the reason why there's inflation is because the government wants to put pressure on you. They can, the same way that they put government sanctions to other countries like Mexico, Venezuela, China, they can do this exact same thing to the market of food, of vegetable, of anything. The thing is that they don't do it. Why? Because if they do it, they lose power. So especially right now. Right now, a lot of people are waking up and they're saying, oh, they're scratching their head and they're saying, you know what? The Democrats, they're pedophiles, they're murderers, they kill people. So we don't want this anymore. They're, oh, yeah, you don't want it? Well, guess what? We're going to print a lot of money and we're going to make the situation harder. And it's going to be even harder for you to leave because now everything's going to be more expensive. But, at the end of the day, like I said, inflation only happens because they allow it to happen. If there are regulations that tell you, hey, this oil cannot go above this price, gas cannot go above this price, anything can go above this price. Even if they print money that they don't have, it wouldn't affect the market. Which still, I mean, I don't think it's okay to print wealth out of nowhere. I think that you need to have assets to back up what you're printing, or maybe it's okay to have some debt, but a debt that you can pay. But my point is that even if you print trillions and trillions of dollars, if you regulate the market, it wouldn't affect you because you're the one in control and you can say, hey, gas prices are not going to go higher. Hey, the cost of goods are not going to go higher. But they don't do it. And why? Because again, like you said, that I said, it is by design. They don't care. They don't care about you. They don't care about your family. They know the power that you have. They know that you're a creator. I think we even talked about this before. In quantum physics, there's a law called the observer effect. When you observe a subatomical particle, the act of observing it is defining how the particles create. So they
Yeah.
know this and they use it to their advantage. They program you into believing that you're a slave. They program you into believing that the purpose of your life is working. And
Yeah.
then you gotta survive and you try to become the best slave slash worker, and you become the best asset for them. You become a creator worker, and that's the power that they have over you. But at the end of the day, we're all creators. What's the name of Martin Luther King? He had a dream. He wanted to change the world. He wanted to, to free people from being slaves. One person was capable of changing reality. Just one person. And that's the power that you have. You know, one person can change a city, one city can change a country, one country can change a planet, you know. And that's the single power that one human being has. That's the power that you, Justin, have. That's the power that I have. That's the power that all of our viewers have. But we need to understand this. So it's not just about cryptocurrency, it's not just about the economy. It's a spiritual awakening into understanding the power as human beings, as creators, and you know, of everything that exists and that exists with us. I don't know if you, I mean, that makes sense to you, but it's real. I mean,
Absolutely,
it's
absolutely. I mean, they've done studies where they have had over 1,000 people meditate and focus on peace and in a certain city, and they have been able to measure the amount of the crime rate that went down during the time that those people were meditating. So, like I said, we have been bestowed these powers, you know, of this from our creator, and
yeah,
we are very, very powerful beings, and absolutely, and that's what they know that, like you said, and they do things to manipulate and to focus on this and that. This is why war continues to come up over and over again every 5 to 10 years,
yeah,
because number one, they make a lot of money on it, and second of all, because it focuses the human consciousness, collective consciousness, on these sort of topics, which, you know, creates you know, energy. It creates focus. Imagine if you have millions of people focused on two separate wars that are going on in the world right now.
oh yeah,
It's a lot of power that they can harness. This is the reason why we have to take control of that, because they are trying to manipulate. So 100%, I totally agree with you. And you know, people, we just continue to move forward here, and you know, every single day, you know, learn something new, grow, expand, and you know, together we're going to get there. As I say over and over again, you know, united we stand, divided we fall, and I truly believe that. So yeah, yeah. But let's get into it. What's going on in the market today? It looks like we're on an upward trend now. So what are your thoughts?
sure. Let me bring my trading view profile. There we go. But yeah, nice talk. You know, everything we just said, pretty interesting, and it's real. You know, what I just said about the observer effect is real. You can look it up. It's a lot. But anyways, back to the market. Give me a second. There we go. So pretty much, you know, I traced this brush line a couple of weeks ago. You know, pretty much is behaving exactly as I expected. You know, in my professional opinion, I think that, you know, the market's gonna pick up a little bit more, and then it's gonna fall down. Like I said before, to me, this looks like a head and shoulders pattern. It looks very, in my opinion, it looks very evident that this is gonna play out, and especially because the RSI is very high right now. Could be wrong. You know, there's I follow other traders, you know, to be more objective, to play devil's advocate, and you know, not to just focus on one perception. And I was looking at the theory from another trader, and let me see. Okay, there it is. So this is what he's saying he's expecting to happen. So according to him, there's going to be no retracement, and you know, we're going to continue to go up. And it's another possible scenario. Like I've said before, technical analysis is an art. You know, the more you're capable of seeing patterns, the more right you're going to be, and you know, the less wrong you are, the greater artist you are. So in this scenario, according to this person, we're gonna keep going up. Could be, but like again, like I said, if you ask me, I don't think it's gonna be the case because the RSI is very high. But one thing to consider is that, you know, market analysis is very good because definitely. I've been doing this for a while, and at the beginning, I was not really a believer. I was like, yeah, I mean, you can predict the market, like, come on. But then I realized that math doesn't lie. Math always leaves breadcrumbs. And if you're smart enough to see the breadcrumbs, you're gonna see patterns, and you're gonna anticipate the behavior. I am not that smart. I know some traders that I take my hats off, and I'm like, wow, how are you capable of seeing so many patterns? Maybe I can see three patterns at the same time. For example, one pattern here would be that this support touches this other support, and probably there's gonna be another support here, and then we can see here at this level, there's a support and it touches with the other pattern. So here I have two patterns. And then probably, if I use I mean, I don't know 100%, but let me see if I can find another pattern. If I use the RSI here, I didn't know that, this just came up. I used the highest point with the lowest point, and we touched at a 2360%, which is an very important number in the Fibonacci retracement. And this just happened right now naturally. I mean, this was not part of my theory right now. I just wanted to speculate, and it came out perfectly. So we have three patterns. This line, and the Fibonacci retracement. So the more patterns you're able to find, the more likely your theory is going to be validated. But forget about that. What I want to focus on right now is the RSI. It looks pretty high, and that's one of the main reasons why I feel like there's going to be a retracement. But also, I would like to remind you and everyone that even though technical analysis is very important, and it's very accurate, it's very accurate until it isn't. And why do I say it's very accurate until it isn't? Because the market, even though it follows patterns, is also influenced by external factors. What do I mean by this? Let's go. I don't remember if we were talking about it at the beginning of the podcast, or if we were talking about it before we joined the podcast. But a couple days ago, there was a situation. Let me show you. It's not this. Hold on. There we go. So a couple of days ago, there was a situation where Cointelegraph, which is pretty much the biggest news website for cryptocurrency, they tweeted that the Bitcoin ETF by BlackRock was approved. And when they tweeted this, the market broke the pattern that it was currently going through, and it went from 27K to 30K in like 5 minutes. Did you see that, Justin? I think I mentioned something in the chat. We're together.
I did, yes.
Yeah, so we can see it here. Let me go on a daily level. There we go. So we were having a pattern here. Let me show you with a trend line. So for example, the market was behaving something like this, and it should have probably bounced somewhere around here. But then we had this massive spike. And the reason why we had this spike is because, like I said, technical analysis works all the time until it doesn't because of external factors. So this is something very important to take into consideration, because even though my scenario here is playing out perfectly, maybe a week from now or 2 weeks from now, there could be an Bitcoin ETF approval. So if there's an ETF approval, the pattern's gonna break entirely, and there's gonna be a new pattern that's gonna emerge, that's gonna be according to the new behavior of the market. So let's say that, I don't know, early December, there's an approval of an ETF. I would expect the price of Bitcoin in a day to go back to this level, to 47K. And it's not just, it doesn't just work on a positive side note. It also works as a negative side note. What do I mean by this? For example, here on the previous cycle, we were having a nice trend. We were already recovering, and bam, out of nowhere, we have a black swan event, which was the COVID news situation that the market crashed. Oil went below $1. It was Black Sale,
It was
Black
negative.
Friday. Yeah. It was crazy. It was crazy, and that broke the trend. If I look here at the trend would have probably been something like this, and it went all the way down here because, like I said, external factors influence the trend line. So yeah, so I mean, we're eventually we're gonna know what's gonna happen. We're like a month and a half away from knowing if this bearish pattern is gonna happen or if it's gonna play out like the this other person is saying is gonna happen. We're very close to that. Regardless, whatever the scenario is, we still have the halving coming in a couple of months. You can actually, there's a website called, where is it? Here it is. It's called buybitcoinworldwide.com, where you can see when the next halving is going to happen. And after the halving, the price of Bitcoin always goes up.
Yeah.
And maybe some people they're gonna scratch their head and they're gonna be like, "Why? Isn't that like a scam or whatever?" And no, it's not. It's actually math. It's designed in a perfect way because since now the system works, Bitcoin works perfectly, and it's a new system created to fight the corruption and inflation and all that. So we already agreed that the system works, but what defines that the price of Bitcoin keeps going up? So to mine a Bitcoin, there is a cost. In some countries is higher, in some countries is lower, but I would say the average, worldwide, the average price to mine a Bitcoin, I mean, I'm just gonna throw out the random number. Let's say it's 20K. If the price of Bitcoin to mine one Bitcoin is 20K, and right now you mine, I don't know, like 5 or 6, 10 Bitcoins per block, it's profitable. It means that out of every Bitcoin you mine, you can make like 9K. But after the halving, there's gonna be half Bitcoins after you mine a block. So if we crunch the numbers, if we take our pencil and our notebook and we use common sense, that means that now to mine a Bitcoin is gonna cost $40,000. So the system is built in a way that you're obliged to pay more for Bitcoin. It is a law that the price of Bitcoin has to go up. It is impossible for it to go down because the cost of mining a Bitcoin went up. So logically, the price of Bitcoin has to go up. So this is a future. This is not like a bug or a glitch or whatever. This is a future on the monetary system to make it appreciate in value. So again, we were talking in the beginning that it's time to use common sense. So let's compare Bitcoin to the best currency in the world, which is a massive shitcoin. Sorry, my French, which is the US dollar. The US
Yeah.
dollar, the US dollar is the best currency in the world, and it's a massive shitcoin. It has no word, it has no utility. You fund terrorism. We print it out of thin air. It's a worthless piece of paper that's not regulated. The people in control is just printed and printed and printed and printed. They cause inflation, and no one's held accountable. So again, it is time to use your common sense. Why would you prefer to use that system when you have a system that already works, that it is mathematically designed to appreciate in value? It is immutable, it is unhackable, it is everyone in the world, doesn't matter that you're in Peru or in China or even in the moon. You could be an astronaut in the moon with internet, and you can access the explorer. You can access the ledger of Bitcoin that's immutable. What do I mean by it's immutable? It cannot be hacked because you have to hack all the Bitcoin nodes, all the computers in the world within 10 minutes, which is the time that it takes to produce the next block. So it is impossible. It is impossible to be corrupt with Bitcoin. So why do you want to stay with the US dollar that is a massive shitcoin that does not hold its value, that is used by corruption, it finances war, it finances drugs, it finances pedophilia rings, when you can have a currency that works, that is about freedom, that is immutable, that appreciates in value. I mean, it's common sense. So it is time. Like maybe it was not so obvious, but it is obvious right now. It is time to embrace Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies like Meta One. Geez, if we perfect Meta One, it can even be better than Bitcoin, because not only is it backed by the technology, it's backed by assets. So it has double value. So it
Yeah,
is time. Yeah, it is time to understand the US dollar. And the US dollar is the best fiat currency. Now imagine the peso, imagine the yuan, the real. I mean, those are even bigger shit coins. So we don't want to use that system anymore. That system is broken, is useless, is not immutable, it's corrupt, it's not public. So it is time. This is how we fight the war, by using blockchain, by using
yeah,
Bitcoin.
it's like the world's fiat currencies is like one of those like D-list crypto exchanges that has like Shiba new Elon Musk coin, and you know
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
it's just literally a basket of just shit coins. But
Shit
yeah, I
coins.
mean, I'm biased, but I honestly think that Meta One is even better than Bitcoin, and we have fixed the problems that Bitcoin has, because Bitcoin has problems. But
Yeah,
like I've said, and I've said before, what I tip my hat to with Bitcoin, obviously, is that it created the technology that has revolutionized the world that we are here talking about today, that our entire project is built off of, and a next generation version of that. And I'll always pay homage to Bitcoin because of that.
yeah,
And but I think like you said, Meta, it's backed by gold and assets. We don't allow corporations to buy it. um you know um we also use smart contracts to make sure that no one can sell the coin for less than asset value, which doesn't happen with Bitcoin. We see these massive, massive, massive moves downwards with Bitcoin. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, though, if you want to compare the overall systems between fiat and blockchain, Bitcoin, Meta One, whatever you want to call it, whichever one you choose, whatever your flavor is, blockchain is going to win every single time, in my opinion. So
yeah.
that's the important part, and I totally agree with that.
Absolutely. And I agree that with you, what you said, that, there are some flaws in Bitcoin. I agree 100%. I think that Bitcoin was the genesis. It opened the door to blockchain, and then someone else is going to come in, is going to perfect it. It could be us, if I'm being honest. However, at the end of the day, even if Bitcoin does not end being, the top pancho of cryptocurrencies, it's still gonna have value. Why? Because there's only 21 million Bitcoins, and it's they're called in the market, in the economy, there are things called positional goods. Positional goods are things that have value only because they're not possessed by other people. So if there's only 21 million Bitcoins, it means that maybe only 1% of the people is going to be able to own a Bitcoin. So that makes it valuable, because at the end of the day, Bitcoin is the warrior that created blockchain and solved corruption, created a new monetary system. So if we all agree that it has value, it will have value. You know, there could be, like I said, there could be another coin that will eventually have more value. Could be not. But if we compare Bitcoin with the US dollar, Bitcoin has 1,000 times more value than the US dollar, because the US dollar is backed by nothing, and it's corrupt. It's not public, and you can just print all you want of it out of thin air. And if you ask me, okay, well, then how does Bitcoin have value? If it's not backed by anything, the value of Bitcoin is its technology. You have a technology that's immutable, that means that cannot be hacked, and that is public. So I've used this example before. Like imagine usually, by this time of the year, there's usually always an earthquake in Mexico City. It's already like an omen. It's so crazy. But whenever
Every
we have
year,
this
huh?
earthquake, uh,
Every year there's a
well, so far every year around September and November, there's an earthquake in Mexico City for the
interesting.
last 5 years. I don't
Hmm.
know why. I don't know why. It's crazy. I mean, I don't know if there's like an energetic point or whatever, but you can check it out and you're gonna see that I'm not lying. And whenever this happens, you get um, donations from other countries to the government. Let's say that, I don't know, we get $10 million worth of donations. What happens to that money? Well, I don't know. Why don't you know? Because the money is sent to a private ledger that is the ledger that the banks use, and that ledger is not immutable. That means that it can be hacked, it can be changed. You can just be a corrupt guy and be like, oh, well, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say that we received the money, and I'm going to say that we received 1 million, but we only received 10 million. And then I'm going to go back to lunch. And that's how the system works right now. But if we do that donation through the blockchain, through Bitcoin, we're going to see, we can go to the Bitcoin Explorer, just go to Google, Bitcoin Explorer. There it is. Okay. The transaction for 10 million. Okay, here it is. It went from this wallet to that wallet. And then
Yeah.
from that wallet, it went to that people, and that people bought toilet paper, they bought gasoline, they rebuilt, they bought food, and everything is public and immutable.
Yeah.
Again, what do I mean by this? It cannot be hacked. The information, it's not like the bank that you can just go in and change a number and that's it. It cannot be hacked and it's public. So that's why Bitcoin has value, because it's a system that is free from corruption. It is limited, and the technology it was created on, it makes it work against inflation. So here we have a chart of the US dollar and the inflation it's had over the years. So you can see here that with $1 you could buy 30 Hershey bars in 1913, and right now this is the current. This is a major shit coin. If you this is like you were saying, the meme coin that you would buy on a terrible exchange.
Yeah.
You know, Sonic Obama Inu 500. I don't know if you've seen that one. They get
It's
the
just so out of control. The names are
yeah.
just so out of control.
Yeah. And this is the graph of the US dollar. Now let's take a look at the graph of Bitcoin over the years. So it's in the opposite direction. This currency was made out of thought. It was made out of math, engineering, technology. So do you want to, at least for now, while Meta One becomes the best coin in the world, at least for now, if you use Bitcoin, you're saving yourself from inflation. You could have bought $1,000 worth of Bitcoin 10 years ago, and right now you'd have like $2 million, $3 million. It would be set for life. And you could have bought, you could have hold to, I don't know, $10,000 of the US dollar 10 years ago. And right now you would have the equivalent of a purchasing power of like $2,000. It's that bad. It's super bad. Just from 2020 to 2023, the US dollar lost about 50% of its purchasing power. Don't believe me? Use your common sense. Go out to the street. What are the prices of gasoline? The price of gasoline, a gallon was like $3. Right now, in some places, it's like $8. The price of a
Yeah.
dozen of eggs was like $4. Right now, it's like $10. So don't take my word for me, from me, because people then are gonna, a lot of people are gonna be like, oh yeah, well, you have an agenda. Where are the facts? Forget about what I'm saying. Go outside and look for yourself. Go to the market. Go to the price of gasoline, and then turn on the news and listen to Joe Biden. Listen to him say, "Oh, inflation's just an inch. Oh, it's not gonna happen. Oh, there's no recession. Oh, he's just gaslighting you. I mean, come on, you're gonna believe this person over your own eyes? I mean, come on." And I actually want to share an article real quick. This Senator Warren, she wants to create a legislation to ban crypto because she says that crypto funds terrorism. Okay, let me show you something very interesting. Give me a second. There we go. So this is an actual tweet. that Trump tweeted on the Truth platform. This was on 9/11 of the year 2003. Well, that's a coincidence. I didn't know it was 9/11. So Trump acknowledges that Joe Biden just gave $6 billion to the terrorist regime in Iran. And he said that money will be used for terrorism over the Middle East and indeed the world. And then he just, goes ahead and trashes Biden because, you know how it is. And what happens? A month later, a terrorist organization goes into Israel and murders a lot of people. So this Donald Trump said that this was going to happen, and it happened. And anyone with common sense and logic would understand that it was going to happen because they gave money to people that they're known to have ties with terrorist organizations, and then they invaded another country. And now what are they doing? They are funding Ukraine and Israel with more money to keep fighting a war. So, I mean, just forget about what I'm saying. Just do the math. So the government says $6 billion to a terrorist, to a country that is known to be working with terrorist people, and then the terrorist attacks happen, and now they send money to the other side. They say money to Israel and Ukraine to fight the terrorists. So make it make sense. The U.S. government is funding the terrorists, and the other side is funding both sides of the war. And it's no matter how much they want to say that it's not happening, the information is out there. Go ahead and draw your own conclusions. Go to Google, see for yourself. And the biggest irony is now that this crazy lady is blaming it on crypto. I mean, come on, you guys funded the terrorists, and then you're funding the war, and you're blaming it on crypto. Make it make sense. I mean, come on. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know what
yeah,
to think
man. I mean,
about
well,
this.
it's that same idea we were talking about before, right? It's the programming. So it's like we're doing something, so we need to point the finger at somebody else or something
Yeah,
else to get the spotlight off of us. And also too, like I remember reading, I can see if I can find the article and put it in the show notes, but I remember reading a article maybe 8 months or a year ago that talked about it was they interviewed a DEA agent or the director of the DEA or something at that time, and they basically, or maybe it was a financial crime, some kind of financial crime investigation part of maybe the FBI or some kind of three-letter agency in the government, and they basically said that the amount of illicit behavior or illegal transactions and use of, let's say, Bitcoin, for example, had fallen by like 95%, and that like less than 5% of actual Bitcoin transactions are actually used for whatever, some
criminal
kind of
behavior.
illegal activity or terrorism or whatever it is. I mean, now you look at the US dollar, for example, right? How much of the transactions done in the US dollar are illegal or terrorist transactions, so on and so forth. A massive amount.
95%, I would say.
So yeah, it's just it's hypocrisy. It's double
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me add something to what you just said. You literally have to be the biggest idiot in the world to use Bitcoin for criminal behavior because everything is registered on the ledger.
Yeah,
It can be tracked to you. I don't know if you remember that I think while Donald Trump was still president, his Twitter got hacked, and it was actually a kid. A kid hacked Donald Trump's
I
Twitter, and
remember this. Yeah,
he said, "Oh, there's gonna be a Bitcoin giveaway. Send your Bitcoins over here." In 5 minutes, they knew who he was. 5 minutes. Why? Because the blockchain is traceable. Anyways, you gotta be the dumbest criminal in the entire planet to use Bitcoin for illicit activities. I mean, come on,
I
it
agree.
is traceable, but the U.S. dollar is not. I mean, you can grab $100 right now and go outside and buy drugs. Who's gonna know about it? No one. It's crazy. It's crazy.
100%. I agree.
But anyways, in other news, I just wanted to finally I wanted to share this article. that Elon Musk and Mark Cuban have finally had it enough to hear with the SEC with their corruption. They're saying like these guys, I mean, they're not even trying to hide it anymore. They went after Ripple, they went after Coinbase. They're just doing some massive corruption in front of everyone, and there's nothing, nothing is being done about it because they work directly with the BlackRock and Vanguard and the forget about the government. The government is just a circus to make you believe that there's a democracy. The real government is the hedge funds, BlackRock, Vanguards. That's capitalism right there. That's what capitalism means. That a few selected amount of private corporations control the world. Government is an illusion. It's just a circus to make you feel like, oh yeah, I vote, you vote, oh democracy. There's no democracy anywhere in the planet right now. Well, maybe in Sweden and Finland and all the better countries, but 95% of the world, there's no democracy. So these people had, they've had it up to here, and they're gonna start attacking the SEC. And the SEC has also realized that they have no argument. Just this morning,
Yeah.
the SEC finally dropped the lawsuit against XRP. They were appealing the ruling from the judge,
Yeah.
but eventually they realized, they ruled it, but under what arguments? They have no arguments because it's just corruption and manipulation. So the SEC finally realized, okay, we have nothing, and they just dropped the case entirely in the SEC.
Well,
So
good job for Musk and Cuban.
yeah,
I'm for anything where people going up against three-letter agencies, especially corrupt
oh
agencies
yeah,
like SEC, and telling them, screwing it to them, because that 100%, man. I mean,
yeah,
they're some of the most corrupt. We've talked about it so much. We've gone up against them. We've seen their tactics and what they do. They fabricate things. They make things up. They put people in scenarios to make it look like this and that. It's nuts. It's crazy what
yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
do. It's the same kind of things that the FDA does, these other three-letter agencies do. But I'm really happy to see, it's so interesting because there's some days where I'm like a really big Elon Musk fan, and there's other days where I'm not.
I
But
was just about
today,
to say that. I know you're not a great fan of Elon Musk, but tell me something. If it's not Elon Musk, who's gonna be your hero? Who's gonna be your
well,
fighter?
today I think that Elon Musk is doing a good thing, and I'm glad to see that they are doing something. And I have to say,
Yeah,
lately Musk has been doing some good stuff. I mean, I see Twitter as probably the most censorship
yeah.
free social media platform that there is right now.
It
Um,
is. It
and I
is.
think it's super cool that he's got Tucker on there, who's getting, Donald Trump interviews with 255 million views. I think that stuff is cool. So, yeah, I'm not a fan of his, put chips in human people's brains, but I'm definitely a fan of what he's doing with the SEC, against the
Yeah,
SEC
yeah,
and on
yeah.
Twitter. So keep up the good work, Musk. As long as you're doing it for humanity, that's what's important. So, but that's
Yeah,
awesome, man.
well,
I mean, that's the thing. In this day and age, you need to have people like that who have significant power to be able to completely turn on the system and decide to use their power against the system, because that really can spark. It's like you were talking about, that person who decides to make that first step, and then all these other people decide to jump on the bandwagon too. And I think that he can be an amazing spokesperson for, really helping to push people towards realizing some of this stuff. And I think that some of the stuff he says is really interesting. A lot of his tweets are
yeah,
interesting, and I think that him using his platform, where millions upon millions, if not billions of people follow him, watch him, listen to what he says. I think it's good when he uses it for good. So yeah.
I something I've noticed is that everyone has something you love him for, and everyone has something you hate him for.
Oh yeah, for
So,
sure.
so how you pick your fighters is uh, realizing who has more of the good stuff than the bad stuff. Like for example, if you tell me Joe Biden, I cannot find a single good thing that I would support him, and I don't understand why
Well,
these. Not one single thing. Like what has he done for you or for anyone under his presidential term? not one thing. Even as a human being, before he became president, I've seen videos of him talking in Senate. He's a racist, manipulative, misogynist. He's a terrible human being. And then, for example, Elon Musk, he has several things that I don't agree with him. Like, for example, he's always saying that, oh, you should have 15 children, and reproduce as much as you want, and you just do what you want. I don't agree with that, because I've read articles where his children complain about him, that he's just having children with different women. And I mean, as a child, that would make me very angry. Like, why is he going with other women? Why is he not taking care of us? Yeah, you have money, but money is not everything. You need a role model. You need a father. You need someone who teaches you about life. Do you think Elon Musk is going to help them with anything in life? No, he has a lot of companies. He has Tesla. He has, he has the Starlink. He has the space rockets. He has the microchips. He has no time for his children. And then he's like, oh yeah, have all the children in the world. I mean, I think that's terrible. And if I'm gonna paint it in that light, I think he's a terrible human being for saying that. However, he also has good things, like the whole Twitter situation where he's fighting for freedom. He's fighting against the SEC. He's helping other people. When in Ukraine there had issues that there was no internet, he gave internet free for everyone. He has more of the good stuff than the bad stuff. But I guess my point, what I'm trying to say, is that when you choose your fighters, you gotta see who's got most of the good stuff, of the what's worth fighting for. Because at the end of the day, nobody's perfect, and everyone's gonna have some details that are gonna go against whatever you believe. But if you ask me, if it's not Elon Musk, who is it gonna be? If it's not Donald Trump, who is it gonna be? And again, I know you also don't like Donald Trump a lot, and I don't like him either, to be honest. But he's the hero we get for these times, because he's the one fighting. I know Donald Trump. He's misogynist. I know he's racist. I know he's super arrogant, but he's fighting against the deep state. And if he's gonna fight against the deep state, I mean, he can be whatever he wants, because at the end of the day, he's fighting against freedom. He's fighting against the good, not only of the United States but the world, because the world is an extension of the United States. So yeah, I mean, that's just my 2 cents on the situation. I think right now our fighters are gonna be Elon Musk and Donald Trump, and if they fail, is I don't know what's gonna happen, but I hope they do a complete their mission, because it's getting harder day by day. We have a new war today. Innocent children are being killed. They're bombing hospitals. Inflation is an all-time high. They can keep printing billions of dollars every day. That means that every day your food is gonna be more expensive. So where does it end? Who's gonna fight this war? My reach is not as big as Elon Musk or Donald Trump's. So we gotta choose our fighters carefully, and we gotta keep embracing blockchain technology, because that's 95% of the solution to the situation we have in the planet right now.
Yeah, well, that your reach is bigger than you think, and I think, like we started this conversation at the beginning of the podcast,
Yeah,
everybody has a role to play, and it's quite important to everyone has a role to play, and it's quite important to
yeah,
make to stand up and remember that you have power too, and it's not just about everyone else. But yes, I also think that people who have greater reaches, they have a bigger responsibility to take action. So yeah, 100%. And I also agree that the world is not black and white. It's very gray. And
yeah.
you can't look at things in a black and white way, because this is just not the world that we live in. So yeah, for sure. Well, this has been an awesome show. And we really appreciate everybody tuning in and watching. If you really liked what you heard, the best way that you can support the show is to share the show with other people, and to like and comment. and tell us what you think about any of these topics, what you think about what we've been talking about. If there's something you want us to cover or talk about on the show, please join us. If you know someone interesting out there who is fighting for freedom along with us, let us know. We'd love to bring them on the show and interview them and learn about what they're doing. The way that we're going to win as a human race is to unite, as I always say. So, very much appreciate everyone who takes the time to listen to us with every episode. Do you have anything to add, Fernando?
No, that's all. I just hope everyone had a good time on today's podcast, and until the next one.
All right, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, a wonderful weekend, and we will catch you next time. Take care.
Bye.